Hi, I'm Vikas. I'm a PTE trainer here at Bangalore, India. Today I'm going to give you a super and an awesome method that you could use to get full marks for the describe image question type of the speaking section. Now, guys, if you would like to make a note of it, keep your notes handy. Uh, Stay tuned. I'm going to give you all everything that you require to nail this question type. So if you're finding difficulties with describe image, this video will solve it for you. If you found the video useful, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel for more updates. Thank you.
Alright guys, let's get started. So today I'm going to cover some methods and techniques that will help you score full marks with one of a fairly difficult sections of the speaking, which is a describe image question type. Now it's not as difficult as it looks, but if you follow the methods and techniques that I've given you here, it should be much easier. Now, I'm going to start off with how the question is scored, followed by the methods and techniques, along with an example. So please pay attention. Stay focused and stay with me. Now, starting off with the scoring, you will be judged on content. Although content is really important, it's not mandatory that you have to cover all the points. If you cover about 4 or 5 points, probably the most noticeable features in the graph, that should be more than enough, right? And of course, considering it's the speaking section, you will be judged on oral fluency and pronunciation. Now that you know the scoring, let's just quickly have a look at some of the examples. Remember guys, you will be given 30 seconds only to prepare, right? You will be presented with a graph like example 1, or probably just a picture like example 2, right? So the example 1 is relatively easier. Graphs are relatively easier because you have numbers that will support you, right? So let's get into the method. So you make sure that you are following this protocol, or this kind of uh, you know prototype or a protocol for you to be able to describe any image. Do not worry about the image that's presented in front of you. Just make sure that you are speaking fluently. Remember guys, this is a speaking test, right? So now, just like all the methods, you have a beginning, you have a middle, and an end. Now let's get started with the method. You have an introduction. You will have to start with a solid introduction. This is relatively easier. You could complete it in less than about 10 seconds. Let's take an example of the previous example, the example 1. You could start off saying this graph represents the holiday accommodation chosen by British in the year 2010. The options considered here are self-catering, caravan, camping, and hotel. This covered roughly about 10 seconds. Now we move on to the key points, which is the middle section. You could probably take somewhere between 15 to 20 seconds. Try to wind it up within 20 seconds so you have some time for the conclusion. All right. So like I told you earlier, you don't have to cover all the points. Just cover the most noticeable features. For example, you could speak about how hotels are the most they're the favorite kind of accommodation for people in British in the year 2010, followed by camping, caravan, and self-catering. Caravan is the most considered option for people from Northern Ireland. Yeah, the whole point is that you give them some important points, and you should be able to speak fluently, right? All right, now moving on to the conclusion. Now, make sure that you use words like in conclusion, or anything that basically concludes your lecture. You could use overall or in conclusion. You could say in conclusion, hotels are the most favored accommodation that is chosen by the British, right? Just to kind of, I will give you another example once we are done with the methods and techniques here. Remember, here are some of the techniques that you need to follow to get full marks with describe image. Make sure that you do not stop or restart your sentences. Just make sure you're speaking smoothly. Doesn't matter even if you're wrong. Right, even if you fumble, even if you're wrong, it's completely okay. Just make sure you're speaking smoothly. You could use keywords like increasingly, decreasingly, rapid increase, substantially, moreover, in contrast, however, nevertheless, etc. You could probably make a note of all these keywords that I've mentioned here. It will help you in describing images in a better way. Right now that we know the tips and the techniques, let's switch over to another example and see how we could go ahead and describe it. Yeah. Remember, guys, I'm reiterating. Just make sure that you don't stop or restart sentences. Just make sure you're speaking smoothly. Remember, this is a speaking test. Right. Let's go to the example number 2. So you could pause the video, take about 30 seconds to analyze the image. All right. I'm going to give you a quick understanding of how you could go ahead and describe this image. This is fairly difficult, but you could give whatever you think is best, right? Here's how I would do it. This image represents the issue of space and economic inequality in the developing nations. On the left side of the image, there is a slum area with small houses built in an unregulated manner. The small houses are built in congestion and it clearly lacks transportation roads and space for recreational activities. On the other hand, on the right hand side of the image, there is a multi-storied building with each flat having access to a balcony and sunlight. In addition, there is a common playground and swimming pool. In conclusion, the multi-story building have solved the problem of space in overpopulated countries. You can see that there is I gave a beginning. I just gave some key points for us to cover the middle section where I gave some key points, and then I used the word in conclusion to conclude this description of the image, right? So have a look at the methods and techniques once again, guys. If you want to make some notes, go ahead and make some notes. If you have any comments, any queries, feel free to leave a comment below. I will be more than happy to answer to your questions. I hope this section will help you in scoring excellent marks with described image. Make sure you're following the method. This is Vikas signing off today. Thank you for your time, guys. Thank you.